showing you how I got started with hand lettering and ultimately bullet journaling. I've always loved art and drawing, but I actually just got started with hand lettering about a year ago. And I always thought it was really difficult, like calligraphy, and you needed to sort of be like a master to be able to do it, but that couldn't be further from the truth. And so I want to show you today how I learned to do it. There are some basic strokes that you just need to practice, and then you string these strokes together to create letters and then eventually words. And it really just comes down to a lot of practice. So I'm going to show you the basics today, and I hope that you find this helpful to get started with your hand lettering. So hand lettering and calligraphy are quite similar. Calligraphy is more rigid and it uses a specific brush pen. Hand lettering is more flexible and you can use any kind of pen that you have at your disposal. So hit that like and subscribe down below and let's get started. Okay, so what we're gonna need today is you're gonna need some paper to practice on. I have these two notebooks that I use, but you can use anything you want. This one is just blank paper. And then this one is grid paper, which I actually really like. I prefer this one. I find it easier to write within the lines and to do consistent strokes and lettering. And then also once you're finished practicing, you get a really nice sheet of strokes as well. So I'm going to be using this one today, but feel free to use whatever you have on hand. It doesn't have to be anything fancy, just some scrap paper will do. Now for pens, today I'm going to be using the Pentel brush pen. This one's really great for beginners. I highly recommend. I think I spent under $5 on it, and it has this variable thickness tip that you can see here. It's not too long, which makes it really beginner friendly. It's easier to control, so I highly recommend this one or something similar. I also sometimes use this pen. This one's from Faber-Castell. This one's really nice quality as well, but as you can see, the tip is a bit longer. So it's a bit harder to control, and so I wouldn't recommend that if you're just starting out. So today I'm going to be using the Pentel brush pen. So let's get to it. The first thing is we're going to learn the basic strokes. So there's 8 basic strokes: an upstroke, a downstroke, and then combinations of this with curves and turns. The most important thing to remember in hand lettering or calligraphy is to be putting pressure on your downstroke and then to use light pressure on your upstroke, and that will give that illusion of calligraphy. And that's why we need a pen like this one, because you have the variable thickness that will allow you to do that much more easily.
Practice these strokes a few times like I am here. Remember to always put light pressure on the upstroke and heavier pressure on the downstroke. It's a bit trickier than it looks to make it seem smooth like I am here, so practicing this many times can give you a good feel for your pen and better practice to get that calligraphy look.
Okay, so now that you've mastered your basic strokes and you've done some practice, you may have something that looks like this. Once you've mastered these strokes, you're ready to start combining them into letters. So each letter is combined of a combination of these strokes, and the most important thing to remember is to always maintain your pressure on the downstroke and light pressure on the upstroke.
Let's start with the letter A. The letter A is an O stroke, followed by the down and up stroke, but you can stop the upward stroke a little bit earlier than we did in the practice. So breaking it down stroke by stroke, you can see that these two strokes combined make the letter A. Now let's look at the letter B. I like to write my B's like this. There's other ways to do it, but I like to do it like this. So this is an upstroke combined with the downstroke, combined with the up and down, and then another upstroke. You can also think of this stroke here as an L stroke, and I find that a bit easier. But you can see that all these strokes combined make the letter B. The letter C is pretty straightforward. It's just an O stroke that you didn't quite complete the O, and that's all there is to C. D is the O stroke, followed by an upstroke and a downstroke, which you can consider an L stroke, and then a final upstroke. So breaking it down looks something like this. I call this like an L stroke, and then a final upstroke. So I really recommend breaking down these letters like this. Make sure you lift your pen off the page after each stroke, and that will help you see the purpose of each stroke and get that hand lettering look as opposed to a handwriting look.
each letter using the basic strokes, I would recommend practicing the whole alphabet a few times to get the hang of it. And so you might have a page that looks something like this. You can see I've practiced the alphabet a couple times there. I've practiced it many more times than that. It took me a long time to get to this level of comfort and ease with the letters, but it's just a lot of practice. You'll definitely get there. And once you're ready with the letters, now we're ready to combine it into some words. So because I knew I wanted to get into bullet journaling, I practiced with the days of the week, and I found that really helpful. So that's what I'm going to show you here, but feel free to practice with any words that you would like.
So combining the letters into words is not too difficult. Keep in mind to lift your pen off the page after each stroke, and you're just drawing one letter next to another. If you find that you drew the next letter a bit too far away, you can just extend the previous stroke to connect them, like I am here. Great job!
Now that you've mastered all the days of the week, you're pretty much ready to be an expert hand letterer. And so these are the kind of letterings that I use in my bullet journal. As you can see, I'm using just the days of the week, just like we wrote them. And these are found throughout my bullet journal. You can also check out my channel for other videos about my bullet journal. If you're feeling pretty confident about hand lettering and you want to take it to the next level, here's a few more tips for how you can elaborate on what we've just done.
Let's look at the word Thursday. So here I'm writing it just how we did before with the basic strokes and connecting all the letters together. But if we want to do something a bit different, one option is to vary the base level of the letters. So you can see the grid line where my level T ended is higher than the H, and then each letter I end on a different grid line. So you can practice this by dropping different strokes and you get a more funky look like this. You can also vary the curvature of your letters, so see here my H is much more curved than the one on the top, and this also gives you a more cute or fun look. Compare this to writing it very linearly and thinner lettering, and it gives you a more classic or formal look. Another option you have is, and this works really well if you don't have the variable thickness brush pen, is you can just take a fine liner, write all the letters with the same strokes that we do, lift your pen off the page after each stroke, and then for every downstroke, add a second line next to it like I am here. And this gives that hand lettering look. You can color it in, and that would be a good fake if you don't have a brush pen, or you can actually leave it uncolored like I'm going to here, and it just gives a cool different effect. And one final look I'm going to show you is this one here where you stretch out the stroke after each letter, and it gives a sort of classic and whimsical handwriting style.
So I hope you learned a lot from this video. I wanted to share that it's not as difficult as it looks to make lettering that looks like this in my bullet journal. I only started a year ago with the help of some basic strokes. I practiced a lot and now I feel really confident and comfortable in it, and I wanted to share it with you guys. So that's it for this one. Don't forget to hit that like and subscribe down below if you found these tips helpful, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye friends!